Cornell Notes continued, part 2, review and what goes in that left-hand column. So we will review what we learned last time and learn something new as well. Our objectives today: content, I can review my Cornell Notes using 4 or more strategies. Language, I will write questions in the left-hand column of my Cornell Notes. Teachers, please pause and have your students repeat each objective. Now we need to start. Students, you need to get out your notes on the history of candy. Teachers, please pause and allow the students to do so. If you need to finish the notes, teachers, please pause the video and do so. Students, your starter for today. You need to find someone born in the same month as you. So if you were born in June, find someone else who was born in June. Compare your notes and write in anything that you may have missed. Here is an example from my notes. I found something missing, so I drew an arrow and wrote it in. You do not need a different color pen to do this. Teachers, please pause and have your students do this activity with their partner. Okay, now we need to review. We're going to use a little pop quiz to see what you remember about Cornell Notes from last time. Students, you'll be writing the answers to this pop quiz on the bottom of your History of Candy notes, wherever you left off. You need to number 1 through 5 now. Teachers, please pause at any time during the quiz to give students a little bit of think time. Our first question, out of 100%, how much do you forget if you do not take notes and review them? Out of 100%, what do you think? Well, 80%. You can lose up to 80% or more of the information you were supposed to learn. Question 2. What about if you do take notes and review them? How much out of 100% will you remember? You could remember up to 80 to 90 or maybe even 100% of what you took notes on if you write notes and review them. Here's question 3. How many minutes a day should you review or read or use your notes? That's right, at least 5 minutes a day. That means you could review them for more, but you need to review them for at least 5 minutes daily. Question number 4. How do you abbreviate the word information? If you wrote info or info period, you are correct. That is how you abbreviate the word information. Our last question. This is more of an opinion. How do you think Cornell Notes will help you? Could keep you organized. What about end-of-year CRTs? Do you have any other ways that they might help you? Teachers, please pause and have a discussion with your students now. We talked about how you could paraphrase last time. Paraphrase means to make it into your own words. So we paraphrased the phrase, "We as Westlake Junior High Mustang students are clean, cooperative, and caring." We received points on being clean, cooperative, and caring. Looking at those 2 sentences, what are some key things that we could pull out that you might need to paraphrase, like keywords or terms? Well, what about the word Westlake? Well, we're talking about students, right? So Westlake students. And lastly, we need to know what are points all about. So I could say Westlake students get points for being clean, cooperative, and caring. Let's practice. Get with an elbow partner, someone sitting next to you, and paraphrase the following. Paraphrase means to write in your own words, so make it a little shorter. We as students at Westlake can use Mustang points for a few different things, such as bathroom or hallway passes. Another way to use points is at Mustang Market to buy school supplies or snacks. You'll paraphrase this with your partner. Teachers, please pause and give your students time to paraphrase. Now that we've reviewed how to paraphrase with a partner, let's go back and talk about all those strategies of how to review your notes. The first strategy to review your notes is to circle key words. So after you've taken your notes, you're going to go back and you're going to circle different key words. What are keywords, you ask? They're words that are specific to your topic, so specific to the history of candy. Please take 3 minutes and look through your notes with a partner and see if you can think of any of key words. Teachers, please pause the video now. Thought of any good keywords yet? Our notes aren't very long, so you won't have too many keywords. But here are some examples. I chose hard candies and circled it. That would be a keyword specific to the history of candy. That was our first strategy that we're going to learn about how to review our Cornell notes. Let's move on to our second strategy. Our second strategy is to highlight or underline main ideas. What are main ideas? Well, they give us an overall point of a section or a theme of a section. This may be a little bit more difficult than keywords, so take 4 minutes, work with partner, and see what you come up with. Teachers, please pause now. Alright, that wasn't so easy, but if you have things like ingredients, or maybe you added in the word history of, those would be main ideas. If you're really unsure about something that you underlined, ask your teacher now. Alright, strategy number 3. Putting a question mark next to any confusing parts of your notes. This should be something that you maybe need to ask your teacher about, or you just simply don't get it. So you're going to take 2 minutes. This part doesn't take very long at all. 2 minutes with a partner and put a question mark next to anything you might want to know more about or have a question about. Teachers, again, will you please pause and let your students work on their question marks? Alright, here are 2 question marks I have in my notes to show where I might want to know a little bit more information. It may or may not be something that could be on a test. Alright, now that we've done those strategies, we have one last thing we have to do before we actually get to write in that left-hand column. This last way to review your notes is called chunking your notes. This is leaving a space or drawing a line to separate different parts or subtopics of your notes. Look for natural sections or breaks in your notes. I want you to take 2 minutes and draw those lines in if you don't already have them. Teachers, please pause the video now. Okay, so what are the chunks in your notes? Anybody have any ideas? Alright, so your first section should be about candy and sugar water, also candy and kids. This really kind of goes together because it's before the second chunk, which is hard candies. Remember, that was a key word, possibly even underlined as a main idea. Our third chunk would then be chocolate. So make sure that you're drawing lines in between the sections of notes for each of these topics. Our last section then would be gum. Take a minute, make sure that you have lines or breaks in between each of those sections. Something that is really helpful is to actually number those sections inside your notes. So number it 1, 2, 3, 4 in each section. Numbering those sections helps you with this next part, the left-hand column. Want to know what goes in that left-hand column? Questions. Sometimes we get main ideas or vocabulary for different classes, but it's mainly questions that go in that left-hand column. Some of you are kind of confused right now, I know. But when we write a question next to some information, that means it could be a test question. So you're actually going to write a question that is answered in each section of your notes. You could have as little as 4 questions and up to 6. Of course, that's just for this set of notes on the history of candy. Each set will have a different number of questions. Here's an example. So how is candy made? Should maybe go with that first section about sugar water. If you have more than 6 questions at the end, that's all right. It's okay to have more than 6 questions. Probably shouldn't have any less though. When starting your questions, you want to think about question words. What, where, when, who, why, and how are the basic question words that you use when you write questions. So maybe start there. The next thing you want to think about is thinking like a teacher. Think about questions they might ask on tests. What is important? What they might ask you. Also, what about assignments? You can use Cornell Notes for assignments. So would these questions maybe go on an assignment? What types of assignments have you done? Think about that. Alright, teachers, you can decide if you want to do questions as a whole class, individually, or in groups. Please pause the video and do that now. You made it! Next time, we will be talking about the last section of these notes, the summary. This is where everything comes together and the essential question is answered using the rest of your notes. We will talk about that the next time we get together to talk about the history of candy. Thanks!